Hi, this is the first of 5 videos going through the practice exam. Looking at question 1, we want to factorise fully. Here we've got 2x cubed minus 50x. We have x terms in both and both are divisible by 2. So we take our 2x out the front, we're left with x squared minus 25, which is the same here as here 2x out the front of x squared minus 5 squared. So we have our difference of squares equation here. We can take our 2x out the front. Here we're going to have x minus 5 multiplied by x plus 5. So moving on to question 2, we want to solve for x. So we have two fractions here. Our easiest way is to just multiply through by 5 and by 3 for all terms. Because we're multiplying all terms, our equation stays balanced here. So our 5's here will cancel and our 3's here will cancel. So we end up with 3x plus 3 plus here 15x minus 10 is equal to 4 times 5 is 20 times 3 is 60. So putting these together we get 18x. Here, plus 3 minus 10 gives us minus 7 is equal to 60. So here we add 7, 18x is equal to 67. We divide by 18, and so x here is therefore equal to 3.72, correct to 2 decimal places. Moving on to question 3. So here we've got a pressure loss in a pipe, PL, is related to our flow rate Q by our equation. Here we've got PL equals K, Q to the power of N. First we want to make N the subject of the formula. So we note that there's two parts. We want to make N the subject. So we've got this K term here. We're going to divide both sides by K. So Q to the power of N is equal to PL divided by K. So now what we're going to do, we've got here power of N. If we take our logs of both sides, log of Q to the power N is equal to our log of PL on K. Remembering with our powers it goes out the front. So we have N log of Q is equal to log P power of L or PL on K here. So now we want here N by itself, we're going to divide by log of Q and divide by log of Q. So N is equal to log of PL on K divided by log Q. And here we're going to remember that, okay, well, here when we've got division in our logarithms, we take that through to minusing. So here we get log of PL minus log of K divided by log of Q here. So here we've answered this first part of the question. Our second part gives us here our values to put into our equation here. So now N is equal to our log of 150 minus log of K, which is 171.5 times 10 to the power of 3, divided by here our log of Q, which is 0.02. And when we put this into our calculator, we're going to end up with 1.8 there. Okay, moving on to question 4. So here we've got our angle of depression. First thing we need to remember, angle of depression is this angle down from the horizontal here, is 32 degrees. So we've got our cliff over here, and here is our boat. So we've got this 32 degrees. We know our cliff is 20 meters tall. We could work out here what this is, but it's easier just to say, well, if that's 20 meters, these are parallel, this is also 20 meters. And we want to find how far is the boat from the cliff, this X here. So now we look here, we've got opposite and we've got adjacent. So tan of 32 degrees is equal to 20 divided by x. Here, remembering when we divide by, we can swap these terms over. X is equal to 20 divided by tan of 32 degrees. When we put this into our calculator, we're going to end up with 32 meters to the nearest meter. There. So now moving on to question 5. From a point A due south, so this is south of point P, the angle of elevation is 12 degrees. From a point B due east of point P, the angle of elevation is 18 degrees. If points A and B are 100 meters from each other, we want to find this height, PC. First thing we do, we say, okay, well, we know this is south and this is east, so these are right angles. Then we can work on these triangles here. So here we have our triangle ACP. We've got 12 degrees. We're going to call this one X, we'll put Y, so this is our X at the bottom and this is our PC that we want to find. So we know here our opposite and our adjacent. So tan of 12 degrees is equal to our opposite PC divided by our adjacent X. And to get this worked out, we need to get everything in terms of our X's and Y's at the bottom here. So we swap these over here. So X is equal to PC divided by tan of 12 degrees, or PC cot 12 degrees there. For our triangle here on the right, so we have our triangle, we know we're 18 degrees. This is our BCP. This is our Y and this is our PC. So here we say, well, tan of 18 degrees is equal to PC on Y. We switch them over. Y is equal to PC on tan of 18 degrees, which is equal to PC cot 18 degrees. So now we have terms for our X and our Y, and we put these together, we know X squared plus Y squared is equal to 100 squared. So if we substitute these in, remembering we're squaring everything, so PC squared cot squared 12 degrees, plus here PC squared cot squared 18 degrees is equal to 100 squared. So we have this term PC squared in both. So we take this out the front, we've got PC squared times cot squared 12 degrees plus cot squared 18 degrees is equal to 100 squared. And to get PC by itself, we're going to divide both sides by this cot squared 12 degrees plus cot squared 18 degrees. There, so they cancel out. We end up with, so PC squared is equal to 100 squared divided by cot squared 12 degrees plus cot squared 18 degrees. So we want to take the square root of both sides here. So on this side, the square root of PC squared is going to be PC. Here, the square root of 100, so this breaks up into square root of 100 at the top, of 100 squared, so we get 100, and then at the bottom, we get the square root of cot squared 12 degrees plus cot squared 18 degrees here. So when we're entering this into our calculator, we want to make sure that we're putting all of this together. So here, we want to make sure our cot squared, we can put our 1 on tan here. So we're having 1 on tan of 12 degrees squared here. So when you put that into your calculator, you should end up with 17.8 meters to 1 decimal place.